go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Metro Board Member Camila Martin Proctor, and I represent for joining us this afternoon for the virtual hearing on Metro's proposed FY 2026 budget. Is Metro's Chief Financial Officer, Yetunde Olamide, and Board Corporate Secretary, Jennifer Ellison. This hearing is convened by the Metro Board of Directors to gather public comments on two dockets. Docket B25-01, Metro's proposed FY 2026 capital improvement program, and the federal FY 2026 grants applications, and docket B26-02, Metro's proposed FY 2026 operating budget and associated surface proposals. Notice of this hearing was made by publication in the Washington Post, and by ads were placed in Telemundo Latino, the Washington China News, the Korea Times, the Washington Afro, the Washington Informer, and the ATREF, and DOI NEDE. Information was also provided via social and the Transit app. Notice was also made online and sent to all jurisdictions within the Metro Compact area and to the area libraries. We hope we have done excessive and extensive outreach to the community because we do want everybody to be involved in this process. Signs were placed in all rail stations, on buses, and Metro Access vehicles, and Metro Rail ambassadors provided information in person. We're looking forward to hearing from everyone who's joined us this afternoon to provide testimony. Before we take testimony, we have a brief presentation from Ms. Oloende. This provides details on the budget proposal along with proposed changes in service. Mr. Thende, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Board Member Martin Proctor, members of the public. My name is Yetunde Olumide. I am the Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President here at the Washington Metro. Welcome to our public hearing. I will briefly walk through key highlights of the WMATA FY26 proposed budget, and a complete copy of our FY26 proposed budget is now available online at wamata.com. The agenda for this afternoon will begin with the purpose of the public hearing, followed by an overview of the FY26 proposed budget. We will then provide an opportunity for public comments and conclude with an outline of next steps in the budget process. On the next slide, please. To participate in the hearing virtually, although most people are here already, you may dial in at 646-902-9990 and enter conference ID 734-797-690#. Press *5 to be recognized to speak. Use *6 to mute or unmute your mic. Please mute all other devices to prevent feedback. Our FY26 proposed budget aligns with WMATA's commitment to good financial stewardship, which supports our strategic transformation plan objectives of service excellence, talented teams, regional opportunity and partnership, and sustainability. This proposed budget demonstrates Metro's unwavering commitment to financial stability, service reliability, and continuity. Metro is fundamental to this region's success, providing substantial economic and environmental benefits to the region. In December of 2024, we presented the GM and CEO FY26 proposed operating and capital budgets to Metro's Board of Directors. The $5 billion proposed budget includes an operating budget totaling $2.6 billion and a capital budget of $2.4 billion. This budget highlights the continued focus on operational efficiencies, service enhancements, and future planning, including a new better bus network and metro rail automation to meet growing demand. This budget also maintains FY25 fare levels. Through these efforts, Metro aims to provide high-quality, sustainable public transportation to support the region's current and future needs. And on the next slide, Metro's FY26 proposed operating budget of almost $2.6 billion includes operating expenses of $2.5 billion, as well as $72 million in debt service and $14 million in reimbursable projects. This budget is funded by $545 million of passenger and non-passenger revenues and $1.9 billion of jurisdictional subsidies. In addition, Metro has $28 million in prior year savings to apply to its FY26 budget. Metro's FY26 proposed capital budget of $2.4 billion includes capital programs and projects totaling $2.1 billion, as well as $253 million in debt service and an estimated $10 million in revenue loss related to capital projects. The budget is funded through federal and state sources, as well as $772 million in debt. Ridership growth has remained strong through the second half of FY24. Total ridership for FY24 was 21% higher than FY23. This growth has continued into FY25, with ridership exceeding budget for the first quarter of FY25. Based on this strength, we have revised our ridership estimates for FY25 and beyond. The FY26 proposed budget projects to end FY25 with ridership levels of 255 million trips, above our original FY25 budget estimate for ridership of 227 million riders. As such, the FY26 proposed budget is built on the projection of 268 million riders. The key drivers of the FY26 proposed budget are ridership, inflation, and funding. The strength in ridership growth over recent months has allowed us to increase our ridership. Ended FY24 above the budget of 242 million riders. While ridership growth remains tied to office telework policies, FY25 ridership to date continues to trend above budget. As telework patterns continue to change, Metro will closely monitor ridership projections. We continue to monitor inflation and predict a 3% rise based on economic assumptions, though the impacts of historically high inflation from recent years have increased baseline expenses. The new collective bargaining agreement with our local 689 union will minimize the impact from future inflationary spikes. Another change in the FY26 proposed budget is the absence of to help transit agencies continue to provide safe and reliable service during the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent recovery. The federal government provided relief funding to alleviate the strain on transit operating budgets caused by declines in ridership. Metro will have spent all federal relief funding during FY25, and so the FY26 proposed budget does not include federal relief funding like in prior years. Now I switch to talk about the operating budget summary on the next slide. So Metro's FY2026 proposed operating budget is funded through $444 million in passenger revenues, $101 million in non-passenger revenues, and $1.9 billion in jurisdictional subsidy payments. In addition, Metro has $28 million in prior year savings to apply to its FY2026 budget. Passenger revenue is budgeted at 14.7% increase relative to the FY25 approved budget, driven by strong growth in ridership. The operating budget funds service provided by Metro Rail, Metro Bus, and Metro Access. This budget focuses on optimizing service within available resources through rail optimization, targeted service enhancements, and the implementation of year one of the Better Bus network redesign. The next slide summarizes revenue, expenses, and subsidy for the FY2026 proposed operating budget and our FY2027 forecast to support planning purposes. For the FY2026 proposed budget, operating revenue to include passenger revenue, parking revenue, and other revenue streams is 11.8% higher than the FY25 budget. In addition to its operating revenue, the FY26 budget applies $28 million in one-time savings from a previous year, as well as combined jurisdictional subsidy of $1.9 billion. The FY27 forecast presented here is a snapshot of operating revenue, expenses, and subsidy to support planning purposes and is based on projected ridership, revenue, economic assumptions, and funding. The FY26 subsidy from Metro's jurisdictional partners is $1.9 billion. This increase includes $52 million from the annual 3% subsidy growth, $95 million in one-time savings replacement, and $24 million for jurisdictional sub-sponsored bus enhancements. Total contributions by jurisdictions are for the District of Columbia, $745 million, Maryland jurisdictions, $683 million, and for the Commonwealth of Virginia jurisdictions, $496 million. I will now briefly talk about our service optimization. So Metro, and on the next slide, please. So Metro is optimizing service within the available funding for FY26, while keeping fares at current levels and introducing a new tap-to-ride contactless payment option for mobile devices. This new payment option will allow riders to pay with personal debt and credit cards or by mobile devices. Service enhancements in the FY26 proposed budget include implementation of the year one of the Better Bus network with 11 more routes in the frequent service network. To address growing demand on Metro Rail, the FY26 budget includes targeted changes to service patterns and frequency. The FY26 proposed budget also expands weekend on Metro Rail by opening at 6 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday mornings and closing at 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday to support regional travel needs. The FY26 proposed budget capacity at key bottlenecks for Metro Rail service and improves access to destinations to drive further ridership growth. I'll talk a little bit about the capital budget at this time. And on the next slide, Metro's FY2026 through 31 capital improvement plan of $2.5 billion will fund almost $10 in capital investments across 6 investment categories. It will also fund over $2 billion in debt service payments. On the next slide, as this FY2026 proposed budget indicates, Metro is looking toward the future with strong ridership and customer-centered service enhancements. As part of its 6-year CIP, Metro has several major investments underway to advance asset management and serve the region's growing transit needs. We are excited about our recent accomplishments and look forward to serving our customers and the region in the next fiscal year. And on the next slide. Okay. So written comments must be received by 5 p.m. on Monday, February the 10th. You can submit comments either online at www.wamata.com/budget or by mail to the WMATA Office of the Secretary. Be sure to reference FY2026 budget in the subject line. Thank you for your time and for attending this public hearing.
Thank you, Chief Financial Officer Yotunde Olamide. Your presentation was comprehensive and powerful, and we truly appreciate the work that you have put into this with our team in its entirety. At this time, I'd like to take a moment just to thank our ASL interpreters. Thank you. To thank our administrative staff for helping to keep all of this moving and running and getting us the various documents that we needed. And thank our IT team for keeping the interwebs working as we move forward. Thank you all so, so very much. Before we call witnesses, I'd like to explain the testimony process this afternoon. For this hearing, we have people joining us via phone and via video. If you're joining us via video, please keep your camera off and mute your microphone until you're called upon. If you're listening on the phone, you can press *5 to raise your hand to indicate if you want to speak. We'll call on you using the last 4 digits of your telephone number when it's your turn. If you're watching this hearing live and decide you want to provide testimony, you can call in at 646-902-9990. After calling in, please enter meeting code 734-797-690#. Once you're in the meeting, you can press *5, which will let us know you want to speak. We'll call on you using the last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn. You can also watch this hearing live online at wamata.com/budget, and the video will be archived on the Metro Forward YouTube channel. If you're watching a live hearing on a different device, please make sure to mute the device so that there isn't any background noise or feedback. You'll be able to listen to the hearing while you wait in the phone queue. For the public record to be accurately reflected, please who's providing testimony, I'd ask that you please state your name and your organization you represent before beginning your testimony. Since this hearing is being recorded and will be available on YouTube, please do not provide any personal information like your address, phone number, or email with regards to your testimony. Elected public officials will be allowed 5 minutes, and everyone else will be allowed 3 minutes each. Extra time will be given for transitions if needed. We ask that you stay within your time limit because we want to make sure everyone who wants to speak has a chance to be heard. I also want to note that each speaker will only be able to speak once. While you may have the option to rejoin the speaker queue, we cannot accept additional testimony at this hearing. I want to take a moment to recognize that this is where we listen to you. This is your opportunity to comment on the proposal, and we are here to listen. However, we will not be able to answer any questions directly during your testimony. Your comments will become part of the public record that will be reviewed by the Metro Board of Directors. Changes to the options presented today may be proposed in response to testimony received and subsequent staff analysis. And now it's time to call our first witness. As a reminder, please tell us your name and any organization you may represent before you start speaking. Yes, good afternoon, team. I'm not sure if I'm seeing any witness names.
I got it, Camilla. Sorry about that. So we're going to call on Ms.
Yes,
Lisa Gore. Ms. Gore, if you can go ahead and turn on your camera and unmute yourself. Thank you.
You want me to start?
Yes, but I need you to turn on your camera. There you go.
I think my time is 5 minutes as an elected official.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I just have to get to the right slide.
No worries. Okay.
There we go.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Gore, and I'm chairperson of ANC 34G. My testimony today is on behalf of the ANC as well as the Chevy Chase community, including the neighborhoods of Hawthorne and Barnaby Woods. I'm here to talk to you today about the implementation of the Better Bus Network under the FY2026 budget. While ANC 34G appreciates your responsiveness to community feedback during the final redesign, we want to express 3 areas of concern that we have with the implementation of the Better Bus Network, particularly how it affects riders in Chevy Chase, DC. And we're urging WMATA to fully consider and address prior to the full rollout of new service routes in later half of 2025 these issues. The first issue is Knollwood Retirement Community. It's located at the 6200 block of Oregon Avenue. It's a continuous care facility for seniors of all levels of mobility. Currently houses 225 residents and 150 employees, many who do not drive and rely on public transit. The Better Bus Network proposes the elimination of direct pickup and drop-off service at Knollwood's main entrance, shifting instead to a stop on Oregon Avenue. This change is really concerning due to this poses safety issues for the elderly residents and staff there who have mobility challenges. Walking up and down the hill to reach that stop is going to be not only impractical, but very unsafe. Knollwood management is aware of the issue that WMATA has expressed previously about trying to make the turn around the circle in front of the facility, and Knollwood management is committing to resolving that issue and the congestion issues to facilitate safe bus access at that point. So we urge WMATA to reconsider that essential service change. In addition, Ingleside at Rock Creek Retirement Community, which is located at 3050 Military Road, faces a similar challenge with the proposed termination of direct Metro bus stop service going to Friendship Heights. The change would require residents to walk 3 blocks, largely uphill, to the nearest line C80 every 30 minutes. Along with the removal of certain nearby bus stops, these changes are going to adversely affect our older residents who would find it too onerous to use public transportation. Independent living residents, along with staff and contractors, would be adversely affected by your changes. We heard from residents, one age 91, one age 84, and one age 86, who voice these same concerns and discuss the hardship those challenges would impose. Thirdly, impact on our students and schools in our local community. The proposed changes also impact students and staff at Lafayette Elementary School, who would lose direct bus access to their neighborhood school. Furthermore, the decision to limit service on line C85, rush hour only, and C83 to every 30 minutes will adversely affect hundreds of students traveling to nearby schools, including Allistille and Jackson Reed, and respectively scores of working adults who ride the M4 line currently to Tinleytown Metro stop and from there travel to all parts of DC, including downtown. Timely access to transportation for students is absolutely critical. And currently on the M4 line, we have students that are arriving late to school every day because of bus route issues. And then we are also finally concerned with the requirements that for in-person office work, rush hour frequency. On January 20th, President Trump issued a memorandum entitled Return to In-Person Work, mandating heads of all departments and agencies in the executive branch of government to take all necessary steps to terminate remote work arrangements and require those persons to return to in-person work on a full-time basis. This transition marks a significant shift as many employees who previously commuted by a Metro bus to Friendship Heights or along Chevy Chase now face additional challenges. Prior to the pandemic, employees took Metro bus to Friendship Heights Metro Station or rode down Connecticut Avenue from Chevy Chase to points downtown into Potomac Park. The demand destruction for bus ridership resulting from the pandemic has left such employees with the paucity of rush hour bus service to Friendship Heights along Connecticut Avenue. And at a time when many who have been working at home will shortly be required to commute to work, WMATA intends to eliminate or has already eliminated essential rush hour frequencies on line C83, crucial for students and professionals traveling down Connecticut Avenue. Direct service to Potomac Park via line L1, which will require multiple transfers, and express services on Connecticut Avenue, skipping all stops between N Street and Porter Street, previously provided by the former lines L1, L3, L5, L7, and L9. The city with an opportunity to adapt to the evolving work environment. By enhancing transit options and reinstating critical services, WMATA can support the return to in-person work mandate, making the transition smoother for countless workers in our community and ensuring that the region can thrive in this new area.
Thank you. Thank you,
So
Commissioner
much
Gore.
for my testimony, and I encourage you to take this into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Gore, for your comments.
Okay, now we're going to move on to, sorry if I butcher the last name, Madeline Illy. Miss Madeline, if you can unmute yourself and turn on your camera.
Yes, hello. I and many others need the paratransit buses to run more frequently. Lots of people rely on the buses to get to work, and not everyone works a 9 to 5. A lot of people work odd hours and on weekends. I have spoken with people in my area, and we rely on these buses to run errands too. During Monday to Friday, the bus runs from 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Then there's a huge gap, and it picks up again at 3:15. I am asking for you to close that gap and add some weekend service. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Madeline, for your testimony and your comments at this time. I believe we'll now move to the next speaker, Mr. Reyes.
Yes, we have Mr. Paul Semmelfort. You can go ahead and turn on your camera and unmute yourself.
There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Semmelfort. I am speaking as a private individual. I am a resident of Prince George's County and, of course, a member of the Accessibility Advisory Committee to talk mostly about Metro access. So I am lauding y'all. Thank you for in the capital budget allotting more vehicles to purchase of Metro Access vehicles to provide safe and reliable and accessible service. We hope that continue as we talk about those things in our committee and subcommittee levels. To provide the best service to all customers in the metro region. Also, I see in our budget we are expanding the Better Bus Network. I would definitely want that implementation because that would mean more hopeful expanded service for Metro Access customers once that is implemented, and also particularly looking for more bus service in Prince George's County. Since a third of the Metro Access customers live in their service live in that region, and being able to have more, hopefully, bus service now and into the future will allow them to travel all days and times according to the bus schedule. Right now, it is a limitation for some customers, as you probably will be hearing, on nights and weekends in that particular region. I see you're also increasing in the budget the metro train hours, which obviously air transit follows. So hopefully there'll be an increase in weekend service for paratransit. That's definitely a win for us. So overall, I just want to come in summation. Thank you for not keeping us at a flat fare, and hopefully we'll remain to that and maintaining the service hours and times for this upcoming fiscal year and hopefully years to come, and along with the flat fare. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Semiphone. Absolutely. We appreciate your comments with regards to Metro Access and making sure that we have accessible transportation for all. Mr. Reyes, do we
Yes,
have...
we move now to Patrick Sheehan. Patrick, you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Well, very good. Thank you very much. My name is Pat Sheehan. I am chair of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. And for most of the hearings, I think over the last few years, I always follow Paul. So he usually gives a lot of what I'm going to say. But I first want to say thank you to Ms. Proctor for the support that the Accessibility Advisory Committee is receiving. As chair of that committee, I will say that we are in much better shape this year than we were last year. There are a lot of positive things that are going on. And as Paul stated, we appreciate the fact that the schedule for Metro Access, the scope of the region which is being served is remaining the same, and the cost is going to remain the same at $450. A lot of people were concerned last year when we thought that might be cut. The amount of effort that is being put forward by Mr. Blake with respect to the abilities ride is helping to curb costs. And we're working very hard to, and Paul particularly is working very hard to help us improve the efficiency of that. So we appreciate that. There are a lot of disabled people who depend on that. With respect to the bus system, we are seeing an increase in service, in bus service. And I think between bus and rail, we're going to see, particularly starting in February, more federal workers coming into the office. I hear that by the end of February, there'll be a large portion. So that, although I feel sorry for them having to go back in being retired federal worker, as far as what should help the budget with respect to the income. And I appreciate the fact that much of the increase in the income went back to enable us to pay down some or borrow less from capital funding to improve operational costs. So I'm very pleased that the bus network is being fully funded. The hours, I think, are appropriate. Along with what we're seeing in the Better Bus Network, I think that we have a robust system that is going to move forward. hoping that we can get into the visionary Better Bus Network because of its regional nature. As Paul said, we are looking to try to increase the range and the scope of what is being done in Prince George's County so we can have a more robust network in Prince George's County. And the other point that I would add is that the work that's being done with the DMV Moves Committee is really coordinated along with the Better Bus Network, the moves that are being made with respect to the bus system, the rail system, and paratransit. So I think that bodes well for the region, along with the cooperation that we're seeing between COG and WMATA and the other regional entities. So I am feeling very positive about where we are moving go and agreeing with what Paul said with respect to the increased hours in the rail system. I think that we're seeing good customer satisfaction within the rail system. The hours are appropriate, and the efficiencies that are being put forward with the automatic train operation coming forward. There are a lot of positives moving forward. We appreciate the
Absolutely.
fact
Yes.
that this
Thank
is
you.
working so well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pat. We always appreciate your leadership with regards to the Accessibility Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Reyes?
And now, let's see. I know we have an individual on the call. I wouldn't believe it's Eloise McNeil. John, do you have the instructions on how to unmute?
Sure. Press *6.
Okay, so caller 4152, press *6, and we should be able to hear you. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon.
Perfect.
My
Can you
name is
please state your...
Dolores McNeil. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Could you start over? I just want to make sure we get your name.
Yes, McNeil.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. McNeil.
Yes, I'm advocating that Ward 8 residents get a new fleet of W2 and W3 buses. The buses are deteriorating. If we can't get a new fleet of buses, maybe we can get the buses, the connected buses that were retired the end of 2024. If we could get those buses replaced with the connected buses, that would be a great help. I ride the buses all the time. I've ridden the bus for the last 8 years. And the W2 and W3, they're really deteriorating. My second request is that if we could get the W1 bus that serves Ward 8 to run on Saturdays, at least up until 8 p.m. Right now, the W1 only runs Monday through Fridays. If we could get those two proposed changes to be placed into the budget, Ward 8 residents would really appreciate that. And I thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil.
Thank you, Ms. McNeil. We truly appreciate your comments at this time.
Thank you.
Jose? Mr. Reyes, I'm sorry, do we have any further?
At the moment, I do not see anyone else raising their hand, but if you want to read those instructions one last time, John, for the raising of the hand.
Sure. Sorry, if there's anybody else on the call that wants to speak, and you're joining us via telephone, you can press *5 on your keypad. That'll show us that you want to make a comment. So now's your chance.
Caller 7673. Again, press *6 to unmute yourself, and please, and you can begin your testimony.
Hello.
Great, we can hear you. State your name, please.
Yes, my name is Doris Ray. I live in Fairfax County, Virginia. I am a member of the Accessibility Advisory committee of WMATA, but I am not speaking on their behalf, but rather on the behalf of the disability community in Northern Virginia, since I work for the Independence Center of Northern Virginia, and that community that we serve. I want to express our appreciation to WMATA for its efforts through the pandemic and recent events over the course of the last 5 years, and for bringing us to where we are here today. I want to express favorable view that we are increasing Metro rail service and its hours of service, and our only concern and hope would be that people who use both the rail system and Metro access will be able to benefit by the expansion of the hours of service. In other words, I'm saying I hope that Metro access service hours, days and times of service will influence an expansion of the Metro access service after the hours of the operation of the Metro system within the confines of our service area now. Although we believe truly and ask the board to consider going back to the original service area, which would Metro access service to the entire service area of the compact, the WMATA compact. It is important to provide the flexibility and the capability for people with disabilities to find housing where they can afford housing, and it's often further out. The other comment that we want to make is regarding the Better Bus network. There's a lot of hard work that has gone into the Better Bus network by WMATA staff, and we really do appreciate that. However, we have seen bus service in Fairfax County and in other places in the Northern Virginia service area that bus service has been changed, diverted, or cut back to expand the network. And often that is the service that is most efficient for getting people from their origin to their destination and impacts lives. For example, the simple change in the 7A, 7F service starting at Pentagon and going into the city of Alexandria, particularly West End, and into Fairfax County, was diverted from serving North Beauregard Street after Southern Towers, and it has made things problematic for people who rely on bus service to be able to have an efficient ride rather than spending half an hour or 45 minutes waiting at Southern Towers to get a bus line is in lieu of the changes of the 7A, 7F service.
Yes, Ms.
There
Ray.
are other
Thank you.
examples
Thank
of
you
that,
so
and
much
yes,
for your comments.
yeah,
I want to make sure that we can allow everybody to have an opportunity to speak.
Okay.
But I do want to thank you. Thank you so much for your comments at this time, and we will definitely be reviewing that and taking those points into consideration. Mr. Reyes, is there anybody else online?
No one else via Teams, but is there anyone else that wishes to provide testimony while they're on the call? You can press star 5 to be recognized. Okay, last call. Is there anyone else that's listening via phone wish to provide testimony? Press star 5 to raise your hand. Director Martin Proctor, no one else has raised their hand, so you may proceed to conclusion.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, team. That was our last speaker for this hearing, and we are now concluded. Everyone is welcome to submit additional written testimony. It must be received by 5 p.m. on Monday, February 10th. Testimony can be submitted online at wamata.com/budget. The other additional options to submit testimony include to please complete one of our surveys, upload a letter, petition, or any other documents you see fit. You can also mail testimony to our office at the Office of the Secretary, WMATA Sec 2E, P.O. Box 44390, Washington, D.C. 20026. Again, all testimony must be received by 5 p.m. on February 10th. We encourage everyone to submit comments online if possible. Thank you again for joining us and for taking the time to provide testimony. Thank you, team.